Today I am going to explain new concept array in C. Today we will learn 1D array in C programming. In C programming we solve this using 1D array. Today we are going to break down what a 1D array is, how it works and how to write it in code. Suppose let's take example arrays in C. Suppose you want to store marks int mark 1 85. Imagine you are building an app to store test scores for a class of students. If you have 3 students, you can easily create 3 variables, mark 1, mark 2 and mark 3. But what if you have 50 students, 1000 students? Are you going to write down and type different 1000 variables names? Absolutely not. That would be a total nightmare. So in C programming, we solve this using 1D array. We solve it using 1D array. Today we are going to break down what a 1D array is, how it works and how to write it in code. Let's take an analogy of train cars. Let's take analogy. That is the train cars. Let's draw a diagram of that. Okay. To understand an array, think of a passenger train. This is a passenger train. Okay. One, that is here one continuous train. Okay. One continuous train. An array is like a train made up of connected cars. In computer terms, it's a single block of continuous memory. Number 2, seat numbers, that is index. Okay. Here the train analogy, that is train cars. One continuous train. An array is like a train made up of connected cars. That is made of connected cars. In computer terms, it's a single block of continuous memory. Like seat numbers, that is index. Every car has seat number from 0. The first car is 0, 1, 2, 3 and 5 and so on. Passengers, that is value. Inside cars, you put actual data like the test marks. Okay. Instead of naming every single car, we give the entire train one name, that is marks, and use seat numbers to find specific passengers. And we use the seat numbers to find that specific passengers. Like that in C, we have index to find the value which are present in the array, that is marks. Declaring an array in C. An array in C. Here is how you can create in C. Here, how you create an array in C. Suppose int tells C what this is int marks 5. Okay, here the description of this. What does mean int? What does int tells? Tells C what type of data goes inside. That is, all items in an array must be the same type. Here marks, it is the name of that array. Marks tells name of that array, that is marks. And what does this 5 tells? The size of the array. It tells C to reserve 5 seat in a row, that is 5 size of that array. Suppose marks 0 equal to 85, marks 1 equal to 90. This This literally means go to seat number 0 of the marks train and put 85. This means go to seat number 0 and put marks 85 inside that place. The train then go to seat number 1 and put 90 inside that place at that one index. If you want to print that value, if you want to print a value, you just use the same seat number. Suppose if I want to print this value, this true value, in C we write print F marks 0, okay, output will be 85. Same as we have to print, if we have to print value at index 1, that is marks, then the output will be 90. This prints out 85 and 90. Simple, right? Let's move to the next part. Memory secret. Why count from 0? In array, why every element count from 0? Let's break down. The index, here index, that is 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Suppose these are index value, why counting starts from 0 instead of 1? Here is the secret. An integer in C, let's here, an integer in C takes 4 bytes of memory space. Okay. Notice how the memory is, notice how the memory address jumps by 4 every time. It is 2000, 2004, 2008 and so on. Here an integer in C takes 4 bytes of memory space, and you have noticed that how the memory address jumps by 4 every times, that is 2000, 2004, 2008 and so on. When you write marks 0, C calculates the address as C calculate the address as start plus index into size equal to, let's suppose here the start is the 2000, here start address is 2000, then 2000 plus, and the size of that, and that index is at 0 into size is 4 of integer, then the address can be calculated as 2000. Take another example. Let's take another example. The index when you write marks 2, then C calculates 2000, that is a start, index that is at location 2 into size of that array 4, integer 4, then it can be calculated 2000 plus 8, that is 2008. Okay, the index isn't just a position number, it's an offset. How many steps to skip from the start? This is an offset. It tells how many steps to skip from the start. Now let's move to the one of the most important concept, that is loops. Working with the loops. That is for using loops we can print all the elements of array. In C we write for int I equal to 0, I less than 5 and I plus plus. Printf percentage d marks of I, marks of I. Because the index number goes sequentially from 0, because the index number goes sequentially from 0 to size minus 1, we almost always use for loops to process arrays. Okay, here because index numbers goes sequentially from 0 to size of array minus 1, then we almost most always use a for loop to process array. Here I starts at 0. Here I starts at 0. First loop. In the first loop it prints marks 0. In the first loop it prints marks of 0. Then I becomes 1. Then I becomes 1. Printing marks of 1. Printing marks of 1. All the way up to marks 4. All the way up to marks 4. Okay, with just 3 lines of code you can print 5 values, 50 values or 5000 values. Only with these 3 lines of code you can print the values as much as you can given in the condition. Okay, here is the how you can traverse in array using for loops. Okay, beyond the single row, that is 2D arrays in C. You have studied that 85, 90, 78. These are nothing but element in array, that is array 1D array for one student. Okay, suppose you have a question in your mind that how you can store in C. There is an array which can store large number of values, but suppose there is 30 students and each students have marks in 5 subjects or more subject. How array handles? This is the exact problem single 1D array starts to struggle with. If you use a simple 1D array like int marks 150, you can fit all 150 values 30 into 5, that is 150 values, but it quickly becomes a huge mess trying to remember which index belongs to which students or subject. To handle this cleanly, C gives us 2D array. To handle this cleanly, C gives 2D array. Okay, which work just like a grid or spreadsheet table. Okay, to handle the students marks in your class, suppose in your class there are 30 students and you want to you have 5 subjects and you want to store all the marks of 30 students. To solve that problem, she introduced 2D array. It's look like a grid structure. Instead of single line of boxes, a 2D array gives you rows and columns. That is rows and columns. Okay. Here in this case, if you want to store, if you want to store marks of 30 students, each having 5 subjects, then you can use this 2D array. Okay. Here, then how you can declare that 2D array in C? Let's take example int marks 35. This is the representation of 2D array. This 2 square bracket represents 2D array. Okay. Here, let's check. This is dimension meaning size. Okay. First 30, number of rows that is students, number of students, and size student 0 to 29. Okay. Second 5, number of columns that is subjects, it is 0 to 4 and so on. And how it will look in memory? Imagine your report card table. Okay, imagine your report card table. Here I am going to draw this. Okay, here suppose there is subject 0, subject 1, subject 2, subject 3, subject 4. Okay, here student 0, student 1, so on, and student here 29.